How's it going, everybody? This is Hectic Skeptic, and today we're going to be looking at a video from BBC Three, Why I'm Fat, The Naked Truth. I don't think they really need to explain why they're fat. Everybody knows why people are fat, unless they have some sort of disorder that makes them fat, but we're talking very, very, very small percentage of the population that cannot actually lose weight, that has some sort of real medical issue. So, if you don't have a medical issue, we know why you're fat. And I don't really take too much issue with this video, but there is a part where this guy compares being fat to being in a wheelchair. Now, what type of... we're just going to play it. We'll talk about it after.
Being called names, being bullied for my weight, yes, it did hurt at the time.
I do care that people call me fat, because obviously you wouldn't go up to someone in a wheelchair and say, oh, you're in a wheelchair.
If someone...
Yeah, no... I would hope that someone doesn't do that, and I would hope that someone doesn't come up to you randomly on the street. Whether or not you are unhealthy, whether or not you are morbidly obese, it doesn't give people the right to come up to you on the street and just place themselves into your life. But if you do put yourself on the internet, if you put yourself out there, let's say you get undressed and you're naked on BBC Three, then you are opening yourself up to a world of criticism because now you've invited it in. But no, nobody should be walking up to you on the street and saying you're fat. It's like walking up to someone and saying, hey, you're white. It's like, oh, okay. Just like, let me explain something that I see about you right now. But for that guy to say, you wouldn't walk up to a person in a wheelchair and say, hey, you're in a wheelchair, this person is somehow placing their problem with being fat next to someone being born in a fucking wheelchair or being put into a wheelchair. I almost feel that would be worse because you didn't grow up with it. You were placed into it all of a sudden. But let's not sit here and pretend, unless you have some sort of thyroid issue, that you're not capable of changing your body. It takes hard work, and maybe it's harder for you than it is other people. But by no means is it comparable. By no means can you compare it to being in a wheelchair. Because being in a wheelchair, these people, they could work every single day for the rest of their life, and they're not going to be able to walk. And I find it so disrespectful as someone who can actually walk around and lose the weight by walking, to compare themselves to someone who couldn't even walk in the first place. Buddy, you're choosing not to walk. That's why you're fat. These people don't have the choice. That's the big difference here. You have a choice. That's why no one feels bad for you. Okay? Like, as much sympathy, I have sympathy for anybody going through a tough time. But I have less sympathy for those who complain about a situation that they have the power to change. Now, by no means, if, let's say you're a drug addict and you're addicted to heroin, I feel bad for you. But I don't feel as bad for you as the person who was born with a condition that they can't help. Even if being addicted to heroin is an incredibly difficult struggle, you are not going to get the sympathy from society given you were given a chance. And a lot of people in life aren't even given the chance, like people born into wheelchairs. So you can see the mindset of this man and how he views himself. And it's a very pitiful way of looking at yourself, comparing yourself to that of someone who has no choice of their circumstances, where you do have a choice. And you sit here and tell people, don't walk up to me and call me fat, because you wouldn't walk up to a person in a wheelchair and say, hey, you're in a wheelchair. Those things are not equal at all and should not even be spoken of in the same breath. Maybe you could compare yourself to that of a cokehead. You wouldn't walk up to a cokehead and be like, hey, you're a cokehead, are you? Because the fact of the matter is it's the same thing. It's an addiction. And instead of working on this problem that they have, they want acceptance from society when they don't even accept themselves, I feel. Like, they're so contradicting through this entire video. They'll say, I don't care what people think about me. And then they'll say a couple sentences later, they'll be like, but I eat because people make fun of me. It's like, well, which one is it? Are you eating because people make fun of you, or do you not care what people think of you? So the whole thing is just odd, and I love how BBC Three, they literally just did a video of a woman's autopsy of being morbidly obese, and then they turn around and make a video pretty much just saying there's no problem at any weight. And I just cannot jump on board with this. There's no problem at any weight if you choose to live like that. Just like someone who chooses to be an alcoholic or chooses to be a drug addict and die of their addiction, that's their choice. It's a free country. You can do whatever you want. But don't go looking for acceptance while you do it. That's the thing. No one's going to applaud you while you eat yourself to death. And no one is going to pity you like you are in a wheelchair when you're capable of walking that fat off. So I just found that to be just absurd that he views himself in that way. But anyways, that's the end of this video. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Have a good day. Bye-bye.